Hey!
I was just in utter shock. My first impulse was to text him, honestly.
Marta, who spoke to Matthew just 2 weeks ago, struggling to come to terms with his passing.
He seemed better than I had seen in a while. I was so thrilled to see that. He was emotionally in a good place. He looked good. He quit smoking.
Do you know if he was sober at that point?
Yes, he was sober.
I don't hear from anyone.
Marta and David were in the audience for the Friends reunion 2 years ago. After it aired, fans were concerned that Matthew's speech seemed a bit off, and Marta was worried too.
I was concerned about him, knowing that he'd been through everything he'd been through, and every time he had surgery, they're giving him opioids for pain. And the cycle starts over again.
Matthew later revealed he'd had dental work right before taping. Matthew wrote in his memoir he'd spent more than $7 million attempting to get sober, going to rehab 15 times. And while toxicology reports won't be in for several months, TMZ is reporting initial tests show his death was not the result of a fentanyl or meth overdose.
You have to stop the Q-tip when there's resistance.
Marta and David were by Matthew's side during his ups and downs throughout the show's 10-year run, and say at the time of his death, he was in a good place. Just the day before he passed, he was spotted by TMZ enjoying a meal with this woman, later identified by TMZ as Athena Crosby. Athena, an entertainment journalist and activist, posted she wasn't planning to speak about it, but since she's been identified, she posted, Matthew was in extremely good spirits that day, adding, I am so devastated from his death, but felt it was in poor taste to talk about it publicly, as the attention should not be on me, but rather on him and his legacy. He was an extremely private person, and I always respected that in our friendship.